सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम. The verse 14 and 15 are related. So in verse 14, what we learned is when all the desires that dwell in the heart are destroyed, then the mortal becomes immortal and he attains Brahman even here. So they're talking about Jivan Mukti. While you are in the body, when you go to that final stage of Mukti, it also means that all desire just leave you. They just destroyed means खत्म ही हो गई, जड़ से खत्म हो गई एकदम. हम लोग की टेम्पररली अगर होती है ना तो इट कैन कम स्प्राउट अगेन, बट ये जो रियलाइज सोल होते हैं उनकी जड़ से खत्म हो जाती है. दैट्स द स्टेट दे वर टॉकिंग अबाउट. सो along the same lines you will see this one, giving you a little more insight into how it happens. So here is a verse 15. यदा सर्वे प्रभिद्यन्ते हृदयस्येह ग्रन्थयः अथमर्त्यो मृतो भवति एतावद् अनुशासनम्. Yada is when. They use a lot in this Kathoupanishad. Yada. Sarve, all. प्रभिद्यन्ते. प्रभिद्यन्ते मतलब एकदम चकनाचूर, जैसे शैटर हो गया, डिस्ट्रॉय हो गया, समथिंग दैट यू कांट गो बैक टू. इतने कांच पूरा शैटर हो जाता है तो फिर वो यू कांट हैव इट अगेन बैक, सेम वे, कंप्लीटली शैटर्ड. हृदय ऑफ द हार्ट. यहाँ हार्ट बोला ना तो ये स्पिरिचुअल हार्ट है. डोंट गो बाय दिस ऑर्गन दैट जो पंप कर रहा है, बट वी हैव डिस्कस्ड दैट स्पिरिचुअल हार्ट इज द एसेंस, इट्स गॉड ओनली. सो ये हार्ट और इंटेलेक्ट, जहाँ इंटेलेक्ट और मन और बुद्धि जहाँ मिलते हैं उसको स्पिरिचुअल हार्ट बोला है. दैट उस हार्ट में हियर इन दिस बॉडी मीन्स टॉकिंग अबाउट while you are in the body, while you are alive in this body. ग्रंथयः, knots in the heart. अथ, then knots in the heart shatter हो जाए तब. Martya means mortal people, like we are supposed to be mortal, our body is mortal. Actually we are immortal, but we think we are mortal. So the mortal means people who body. Amrutah bhavati, becomes immortal. The mortal becomes immortal. And amruto should be, I think यहाँ mortal लिखा है, कुछ गड़बड़ हो गया. It should, amruta means immortal होना चाहिए. There is a typo in mine. Amruta is immortal. Bhavati is becomes. थोड़ा सा संस्कृत में टाइपो हुआ है. एतावत is this much alone. अनुशासनम, instruction. इतना ही instruction है बस. So let's see what they are trying to say over here. यदा से शुरू हुआ, right? So पहले क्या बोला था कि जब यदा, the previous verse also started with यदा only, right? Yeah, I did. So बोला था कि जब सारी desires destroy हो जाएंगी, then the mortal becomes immortal. यहाँ पर बोला है कि जो हृदय ग्रंथि है, हृदय में जो नॉट है, okay? वो जब destroy हो जाएगी completely, snap, cut off, cut asunder, that's the word. Asunder means cut into pieces, because this word has been used in Bhagavad Gita also. When one of the verses, Krishna Bhagwan is telling Arjun, because Arjun is soldier, right? वो कौन सी भाषा समझता है? शस्त्र अस्त्र की भाषा समझता है. तो उसको बोला कि pick up the तलवार of attachment and cut asunder all your desires. उसको छिन्न भिन्न करके काट डाल सबको. So here the same word Swamiji has used, the cut asunder into pieces, the Hidaya Granthi ko. I know it sounds so violent, right? If you're thinking, if you think the heart is a pumping, usko kato nahi, aisa nahi bol rahe wo log. They're not telling you to do anything to the heart. This is just a metaphoric language. So when this happens, then truly all the desires are gone, And when this will happen, जब हृदय ग्रंथि छिन्न भिन्न हो जाएगी, कुछ नहीं बचेगा, तब martyo amruto bhavati means then, just exactly like the previous verse is repeating again, the mortal only actually realizes him immortal. It's not like he becomes. Because sometimes, that he realizes he's immortal. So, and then very interesting thing. The teacher over here, who is a Yamraj. Yamraj is telling Nachiketa, this much only is the teaching. Mera instruction yahan khatam hua. Nothing more needs to be told. This is it. So in all the Upanishads, this is the conclusion. Finally, जब हृदय ग्रंथि छिन्न भिन्न हो जाती है और खत्म हो जाती है, तब you get moksha. So then Tejomayananji was saying that, what do you think is the knot of the heart? What are they talking about? What are the knots in the heart? So he's saying that it's not like the surgeon might say that, hey, I did open heart surgery. I didn't see any knots. What's in your heart? That's not the kind of knot he was talking about. So he goes back to Sanskrit language. It's very interesting that in Sanskrit language, it seems there are two. Hriday word is come with two words. Hrid and ayam. Hridayam. That's how they say in Sanskrit. So hrid matlab atma hoti hai, like soul or Brahman, and ayam is body. ये दोनों मिल गए, आत्मा और बॉडी मिल गए, गड़बड़ हो गया, ग्रंथि बन गई. क्यों ग्रंथि बनी? Because the moment they come together, suddenly some ego starts rising and all that, and then I think I'm this body. I forgot about the Atma. I think I'm the body. I start, dwelling in that. So वहाँ से ग्रंथि शुरू हो गई. That's called Hriday Granthi. So the word Hriday is only Granthi, unfortunately. So, and why did it happen? So now I analyze it happened because of ignorance. Suddenly I forgot my true nature when this happened. It's like when suddenly some good movie starts, you get so sucked into the movie. If in the real life somebody's trying to get your attention, you say, no, not now. Let me watch the movie. That real life is more important, right? Something may be happening with our family and we don't want to hear it because we're so sucked into it. That's exactly what is happening over here, that Atma and the body came together and then I got confused. So he's saying the first knot, there are several knots that happens in the Hriday. First knot is avidya or ignorance, and ignorance of our true nature. And then because our true nature is, Chaitanya Swarup, Ananda Swarup, Sat Chit Anand, and what the question Meenaji was saying, that is the real God, but then we superimpose and we sab gadbad ho jata hai usme. Okay, so even though I am truth or eternal person, I think I'm time bound. All of us think, oh, my time is clicking, I'm going to die one day and all that, because the body is going to die, not you. So that's what it is. So afraid of death and change hone lagta hai. And then I'm actually Gyan Swarup. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahman, right? There's another word, Jnanam. But I'm so afraid that I don't know everything. Scared of ignorance. I don't know this, I don't know that. And then I'm Ananda Swarup, but I feel dukhi. And when you are really dukhi, तो वो time लगता है कि मेरे से miserable तो इस दुनिया में कोई है नहीं. That moment you feel so sorry for yourself. Why me? And things like that. So he's saying just the opposite is happening. That's called Hriday Granthi. Knots in the heart. So he's saying that because I cannot live miserably, because that's not my nature, right? So now I'm confusion ho gaya mujhe. I'm trying to get away from this misery, and so then I start looking for happiness outside. In the confusion, because I'm craving for that happiness so much that I project this happiness on the outside objects. And that's when the desire arises. So bolte hain ki the mother of desire is ignorance. So the desire arises and then all fanciful imagination come behind it. Arey mere ko ye mil jayega to I'll be so happy, whatever, And from this they call it kamana in Sanskrit, but English may the word desire. And then the desire becomes irresistible, means, clinging desire. I told you, ordinary desire, no issue. Nothing will happen if you don't get it. But if it is an irresistible desire, you will say, I'm going to get this at any cost. At that point, you can't sit quietly. Then you start doing effort, all the karmas come in. So see how it started with ignorance, it became, desire, and the desire became karma. So these three granthis, they call it, of the heart. So avidya is one, but kamna keep changing. Ignorance only one thing, but desires multiply, desire become very strong, and more desires keep coming. And then when they become like this, clinging one, then the person doesn't care about anything unfair. Fair means nothing. Will start doing all kinds of things. So another problem will start. What happens with karma, if done in a wrong way, if you don't do karma in the yagna spirit like we learned, but we do it to fulfill your desires only, that'll create karma phala. And for that, you'll have to take another janma. Chakkar started. So that's exactly what is happening. And then one other very important thing he said, which applies to all of us, he's saying that कभी-कभी ना हम लोग कोई काम करके ना भूल जाते हैं. Karma means, I did some action. And I completely forgot about it. He's saying the Prakriti doesn't forget. Uska record keeping is ekdam tight. So you may have forgotten what you did. Prakriti is not going to forget. And then you are going to get the result. And when we get the result, we say, why did this happen to me? I'm such a good person. Hey, you forgot what you did. Prakriti has not forgotten. That was a very, very good point that he made, And then he was just reminding Tejami Anandji that how we learned in Kathoupanishad in the previous verse, yatha karma tata yatha shrutam. As per our knowledge, that's how we will do the karma. So if the knowledge starts rising, then all the negative karmas will start disappearing. You will do the karma in the right fashion. And then if you get established in that knowledge, then while living in this body only, you can get that highest. But if you are not there, then what happens? Sukh and dukh will come. We know the whole process that we learned over here. So basically what he was trying to remind us is that this Hriday Granthi, if you don't get enlightenment, it continues in the next life. The knots of your heart go in your next life also. So that's why it is so important to shatter it. So the main problem is three. Starting with ignorance or avidya, then kamna means desire, and karma. So these are the granthis. And we know the whole chakkar, that how if you don't do it in the karma yoga mode, then you want to experience again and again the same thing, and the vasanas keep increasing, and then it creates वो merry go round चालू हो जाता है, birth and death का. So he's saying that basically when you realize the Brahman, that is when the Hriday Granthi it goes away. Until then it does not. It stays with you. These three things. That's what he was reminding us. And then let's see if there are other point. Okay, and then he was, we already did that, but just to open it up, that he said that once this happens, Hriday Granthi is shattered because you have established in that knowledge of the highest, then the jiva who is subject to change and, aging process, death and all that, jiva amruto bhavati means he realizes that he is already immortal. So they are using this word bhavati, but actually we discussed it, that he already is that nature, he realizes it. That's what's called self-realization. And that's what you realize, this is my svabhava. And it's not something that I have to gain or acquire from outside. No, it is my svabhava only. So this much is the Upadesh of the Vedanta. And he's saying that beyond this, you don't have to go for anything more. No, he was joking, Tejamana. No higher studies anymore. This is it over here for Nachiketa. He's saying nothing greater than that, because there's nothing greater than Brahman. That's it. And he was just telling us that in Prashnopanishad also, he says that you don't have to go again look for some knowledge once you get the Brahman, because that's the infinite reality. You are in infinity already. And then Tejomananji was saying, इतना बोलने के बाद उन्होंने 3 और वर्सेस दे दिए. तो कोई बोलेगा कि सब कुछ खत्म हो गया, why you want need 3 more verses? So when we come to that, he will tell us why Shruti said 3 more verses. I think Shruti is very kind. उनको पता है कि हम लोग कभी पहुंचे नहीं हैं वहाँ पे. You know, जैसे रिपीट करते हैं ना, कोई टीचर भी, प्रोफेसर भी होएगा कोई सब्जेक्ट में, okay, this is it now, but he will add some few more because he knows that few students didn't get it. Okay, so this is it. This is the verse. Any comment? It took a long time, but we are coming to an end. So no question, comment. Shall we read? Any volunteers to read? Meeraji, you are it then. Oh, who wants to read? Naresh, do you want to read? Whoever, it doesn't matter to me.
Who wanted to read first? I'm fine with that.
No, please go ahead, Nareshji. That's fine too.
Okay, why don't we do a great thing? We will do half and half. You read 2 paragraphs and Meeraji will read 2 paragraphs. Okay.
All right.
Naresh, you can start.
When all the knots of the heart are destroyed here, even while a man is alive, then the mortal becomes immortal. This much alone is the instruction of all the Upanishads. This stanza is a continuation of the idea given out in the previous month. Hriday Granthi, the knots of the heart, this is a philosophical concept entertained by the Vedantins. According to them, the avidya, the me science, meaning the self-forgetfulness of man of his own true eternal nature, is the cause of all his continued delusions and superimpositions. In the darkness, we misunderstand a piece of rope to be a snake. The serpent here is risen from our not understanding the true nature of the rope. And now, once having seen the serpent, we continue superimposing upon it a length, a height, a girth, a hood, and such other attributes of the non-existent serpent. Similarly, a man, not recognizing his real nature, in the ignorance of his true nature, gets agitated with kama, the desires, and these very desires, in their attempts to fulfill themselves among the world of sense objects, becomes the karma, the action. Thus, avidya in the spiritual plane is itself the desire in the mental plane, which again are themselves modified into action in the outer world of objects. Every action has its reaction, and thus, in order to reap the reactions, the ego centers escape from their present forms through the back doors of death, only to re-enter in the newer forms through the front gates of birth.
So he packed a lot of stuff in here, but you saw that we discussed all of it, that the Hriday Granthi, this is a concept, philosophical concept in the Vedanta, and it's because what is it? Is avidya, means it's the self-forgetfulness. And then the famous, this example everybody knows in the class now, right? The snake and the rope. That when I don't see the rope is lying there, then I project the snake. So that's how I see this world. I don't see Bhagwan in it, and I see everything else wrong with it. And then so he called it, Swamiji gave all these English words for it. Non-apprehension gives idea of misapprehension, he calls it. When you don't see something, then your mind projects. And then, very simple way, you say that you see 2 people talking in a party and they looked at you and you think they're talking about you. They may not be even thinking about you. They may not be even talking about you just by looking. And then your mind goes, oh, they must be saying this. They must be saying, just giving idea of snake and rope, how it happens. So that part he said. And then he said that this was very nicely he put, not recognizing his real nature is the ignorance. And then same thing, that ignorance, when it comes in the mind, it becomes a desire. right? So that's what he was saying, that the world of sense will become the karma and action. Three things happen, but they're all linked to each other. Body level pe we do action, mind level pe desire, and at a deeper level ignorance is there, spiritual level ignorance, and that's how it trickles down to action. And then what else? And this he said it in the most amazing manner. Every action has its reaction. So to reap the reactions, the ego center escapes from their present form through the back door of death. His imagination is so fertile, that enter another womb. That's what you do. So if you don't want to repeat this, we say, okay, I'm having such a bad time in this world, then we need to just get established in this. Okay, now Meeraji can read.
The bond of avidya, nescience, calm, desire, and karma, action, are together called the knots of the heart in philosophy of Vedanta.
So that's
when a human... Sorry.
Go ahead, because we understood what it is, yes.
Okay. When a human being, during his lifetime, breaks asunder these bonds, he, in fact, ends his ignorance. Ignorance can be ended only with knowledge. Thus, the knots of the heart break down at the dawn of knowledge. Liberation comes with knowledge. Jnanenaiva tu kaivallam.
Yeah. Jnanenaiva tu kaivallam means only through knowledge ignorance is gone. And the best analogy is that किसी ने बोला कि अंधेरे को भगाओ जी. तो अंधेरे को कैसे भगाऊं मैं? Do I wipe the अंधेरा out? Do I scrub the अंधेरा out? No. I just have to turn on the light. And where light is, darkness cannot be. That's where knowledge is, ignorance automatically goes away. So that's the only way to remove ignorance is through knowledge. That's what it's saying.
For purpose of emphasis, Shruti herein again reasserts the view of Jivan Mukti advocated by Sri Shankaracharya and his followers. Man becomes God upon earth in his perfection of knowledge gained through his own self-efforts during his lifetime, even while living within his own flesh and bones.
So here, this is a very important thing because, it's coming from the Upanishad, the Jivan Mukti, that while you are living in this body, you can be liberated. And, a lot of people, if they believe that somebody is liberated, they will call him Bhagwan. Actually, there was one lady who said कि हमारे सत्संग में हम सब एक दूसरे को ऐसे भगवान ही बोलते नहीं, उनकी जो गुरु थी उनको भगवान बोलते थे वो लोग, right? Because they believed that she was self-realized. And he's saying other people used to get very upset. She's a human. Why are you calling him Bhagwan? Even Osho, they called him Bhagwan Rajneesh, right? And some people took a big offense. But जिनकी श्रद्धा होती है कि self-realized, that's why they're saying, because the Upanishad is saying that. They are like God walking upon earth, So now you know where the concept is coming from, because sometimes, they may act in a certain way. You may not understand why they are acting that way, but they might have a reason that you don't understand it. Then it's like perfect example is Jesus. उसको तो बेचारे को सूली पे चढ़ा दिया. इतना मतलब उसके अगेंस्ट में गए because they didn't understand what he was standing for, what he was doing. So, but as far as he was concerned, he was a pure soul. A pure soul is, son of God, they call them, but it's like God only. That's what this is. Any comment, question? Anybody want to add anything?
I just want to make one comment here. We read earlier about these knots of the heart. So whatever progress we make in this lifetime in cutting those knots, that's what we take with us.
Absolutely. You can look at it as though उस knot को ढीला कर रहे हैं हम लोग. That's one analogy could be true, absolutely. I mean, that promise is so satisfying that Krishna Bhagwan gave, that whatever you do for your spiritual progress will stay with you. And yeah, that is a very big क्या बोलना चाहिए, solace in our mind, right? In fact, one of the Swami was saying that how our purusharth should be towards that only. बाकी वर्ल्डली चीज में तो कर लिया बहुत है कुछ, बट उसमें कुछ खास दम नहीं है. But if you do purusharth in this, getting over your knots, then that's much better. It will be easier to cut asunder next life. But our teacher used to always say, hey, why are you saying next life? Why don't we hope for this life only? She didn't even want us to think that way. Because हम लोग फटाफट बोलते थे, अगले जन्म में ऐसे. So and that's why Swami ji said कि ये क्रिश्चियन लोगों ने बहुत अच्छा बना दिया है. ये दूसरी लाइफ है ही नहीं. Because man becomes lazy. They'll say, करेंगे अभी तो बहुत जन्म पड़े हैं, So no, urgency लाओ थोड़ी. So there was a reason कि ये क्रिश्चियन लोगों ने क्यों किया. And that is the truth also. They believed actually. That's what they say, that in Bible there was... or Jesus did believe in reincarnation, but later on they changed it because they thought ये लोग lazy हो जाएंगे. So in my book there is summaries there, 14, 15 ka. Thus all knots of the heart are broken asunder, and the seeker desiring out the self rediscovers the self. Not in him means it doesn't कि उसको ये नई चीज मिल गई है, but the self that is his entire and only nature. That's the most powerful thing, that it is our own nature. We don't have to really acquire it. We have to just recognize it.
I was only going to say, we cannot acquire because everything we do is limited actions. And then we cannot go to the infinite from the finite.
Right.
It has to be there. It is, we are us. It's just that there was a covering or something that we're trying to remove or,
Yep. It's, I think a very good analogy is that, because we had so much rain, right? In last couple of weeks, there were days that sun never came out. So so dark and dingy, and it was so cold and wet. So does that mean that sun is gone? No, sun is there. It just got covered by the clouds. So that's exactly what the analogy they give, that it's covered by your own thoughts and desires and all that. It just so at the moment the covering is gone, sun is already there. And हम लोग वैसे भी बोलते हैं, like when I see the sunset, I always say, when the last bit goes down, I said, gone to India. Actually, it's not gone anywhere. The earth is moving. It's just... तो यहाँ पर सूर्यास्त हो रहा है, वहाँ सूर्योदय हो रहा है ना. So that's why I say gone to India. Yeah, so true. It's a contemplative subject, for sure. But see how these verses in Bhagavad Gita, now that he's saying, how I am the dharma of everything, that's how you will not forget that Brahman in your life. Once you study those verses, contemplate upon it, and then you see something and say, hey, that's God. When you see sunrise, automatically your mind goes there. Bhagavan said that's the brilliance is of God, so I'm seeing God. Shall I close? There's no other question, comment. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kashtit Dukha Bhag Bhaved. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.